Youth organizations were able to identify three main factors that are directly affecting their work by putting them in a more vulnerable position. The main factor for vulnerability of human rights youth movements in Mexico originates from their lack of trust from becoming a constituted NGO. In their opinion, this act alone would make them seem as under government's control. Hence, if they work informally in a youth collective and do not have strong networks with other organizations, they can be in a risk factor when it comes to police harassment or government identification. Meanwhile, established NGOs tend to be more protected because of their networks comprised of opinion leaders, other organizations, and even government members. Another key factor for vulnerability is that informal groups constantly have a small membership base. This is mostly due to the lack of access to financial resources because of their informal nature. Small groups and single activists are in a higher risk as they are more often targeted as police harassment subjects than formal NGO members. A third factor of vulnerability is the stigmatization of young activists during public protests. The police target those activists who dress in informal garments that in any way could be associated with the healthy countercultural identity. Arrest, which can at times be arbitrary, has been reported to sometimes lead to torture. Since 2012, over 200 young activists have been arrested and prosecuted against all human rights protocols, as reported by organizations. As such, young people can be vulnerable to police targeting based only on their looks. However, none of these should be vulnerability factors for participation. That is why it is important to recognize that the environment for Mexican participation is not safe for young activists. Even more, since 2012, the use of violence against young activists has been more persistent. And even when this has not provoked a decrease in youth participation, it has aggravated the fracture between young citizens and government.